How do you come up with an idea for that? Because that's hell.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's hell different to your art style, but just
Yeah.
the execution of it is very
Yeah.
fucking strange.
Yeah, well, I think that's the key to it too. Is I don't think I've ever seen anyone do anything like this. So it did take me a while to actually figure out the mechanics of it, the kind of like ins and outs. But yeah, I think a lot of my work lately has been like layered, and so like I'm always bringing different imagery into the one thing, and I think, to be honest, I think it was a kid's toy, like a little kid's puzzle that got me thinking on the movement. But then I also had to think about ways of actually allowing the layers to move without it like either falling off or scratching the painting underneath. So yeah, I've been sitting on that one for a year, to be honest, but like
A year.
been thinking of the whole concept for maybe 2 or 3 years.
How do you like? Is it magnets? Oh, you said
Yeah.
that. Is it magnets?
So this one, it is like the first layer is actually painted on like galvanized iron. So I've painted onto that.
Yeah.
And then the square blocks I've like recessed magnets into it.
So it's fucking. And you did
Yeah.
all this yourself, or did you outsource this?
like my dad, you know, Wogs just can do anything.
Ingenuity.
Yeah, man. And so
Is
we
your dad
come-
artistic as well?
no, I mean he's definitely creative.
In a different way.
Like he was like a Boilermaker welder, and I remember he used to create toys out of like metal when I was a kid. So he is creative, but like he's just like he can do anything. And so we made up these sort of shapes and recessed some magnets into it.
It's fucking just so. I just fucking love that dude
Cheers,
so
brother.
much. We'll get to how much I can't afford it soon. But is this a video of it?
I don't
No,
know.
this is just a still frame of it, is it?
Yeah. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. You can see him moving around slowly.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah.
But here, I'll show you guys while I got it. It's just so cool. It's such a cool concept.
Thanks, man.
Now, is the plan is to do a series of these?
Yeah. So the plan is to do at least 10 of these. So this is not going to be in the show.
Yeah.
So this is the prototype, but I'm going to have at least 10. I don't know. Do I want to give it away? I don't know. And so the new ones that I've been working on actually move themselves.
Really? That's
Yeah.
fucking
And
such a
so-
cool piece to have in the house.
Yeah, yeah. But even cooler, at the show, with all 10 of them together.
You want them like to tell a story or
Yes, so
synchronization.
there's definitely like a concept through the whole thing, but also, yeah, they'll all be moving at the same time and in sync to music too. It's got to be fucked.
It's very like fucking like Squid Game esque, like fucking.
Sure, yeah.
Like, do you remember? Do you remember those
Yeah.
rooms? Those weird rooms.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
it's
and
just fun. That's very fun.
yeah, I think especially with the pieces moving itself, it might be a bit creepy, but like I kind of dig that kind of sense of eeriness and that sort of dystopian sort of feel. And so there'll be like there is a running story through the whole thing. But also I didn't actually, yeah. So like there's the first layer, which is the painting, and then there's a second layer, which is the blocks.
Yeah.
But then in a certain configuration, it also shows different imagery too.
Yeah. Right.
So there'll be like secret shapes, like geometric shapes, secret messages. Like I have always loved like hidden things and like subliminal messaging and that sort of thing. So I think that's my biggest inspiration. Is just kind of the continual like, what the hell is that? Oh, that doesn't make sense. But then if it turns like this, and then it's like a big reveal. So
Are they all going to have the same aesthetic?
yeah.
They all will have like
Yeah.
a similar aesthetic. Same
Yeah.
woman.
No, it's a different. Yeah, it's different. But the stories continue. But then also, I got a little bit sidetracked because I've been doing this for years now. I'm doing a little side mission, and so it's under the same concept of like the moving panels, but like the panels will be bigger, and it won't be figurative. It'd be something completely different. So, and that is something I could do quicker, and I'm planning to release that this year.
And that might be more cost affordable for the average person.
yeah. So
I almost fell off my fucking chair. And it is like, I'm not saying that it isn't worth that.
Well,
but I was just like baffled because I've never actually known someone that creates things that are worth that.
Gotcha.
So what would be
is,
how do you justify art prices?
Yeah, I mean, you can charge anything for anything, right? It doesn't necessarily gonna mean that people buy it, but like I've had like close gallerists that I trust like kind of critique it and kind of price it, and they came out with X amount, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of worth it. Like I am spending months on these pieces, but it's more of like there's a point of like, especially as a street artist, your art is always free. You can look at it for free. Like I do prints like cheap, so it's like cheap, but like I think for me the next level is to have artwork that is of a monetary value to actually, it's not really the figure, it's more of like the status that comes with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually like when these do come out and they do sell, and I kind of want them all to be sold to the same person, but
yeah.
You know, I don't know some Arab sheik, so I got to figure out how to get the right heads in front of it.
I'd say you'd have to do you'd have to put them in Sydney.
Yeah.
I'd say that would be the location where you'd have best chance of some like Chinese.
Oh yeah. The funny thing though, I put that poll up of where should I put it, and Adelaide was first, Melbourne was second, and Sydney got nothing.
I imagine that would be the state with the most indisposable ink, or like
I
don't know.
money.
I don't know the art scene, but that's where all the money is.
You lived in Sydney for a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in certain parts, like
it's just wealth. There's different levels of wealth in Australia. Like Adelaide, we have very wealthy people here. Melbourne has very wealthy people. Sydney has I feel like business wealthy people. Like monarchs.
Yeah.
Like that's where you get like the Chinese billionaires and
same
as Melbourne. Melbourne has that too.
Yeah.
Adrian Portelli might buy all of them and just put them in his toilet.
Let's go.
Bathroom.
Like I've got like one or two clients that could buy a piece each, but yeah, to buy a whole like collection is
What is the price if you don't mind telling people? Or what is the ballpark?
Well, so I've had multiple people say it was around 80 to 100, and then I had other people that said like 20 and 30. So in between that, it's about 50K.
I think it's pretty reasonable. It sounds like a lot.
Yeah, again, it's
I think
different.
that's pretty reasonable.
You know, it's so weird in the art world. Like, so I would say like the street art graffiti scene is very lowbrow, right? And so like, other than your Banksys and your, Cores is a pretty popular one. Like no one's, maybe your James Jean. Have you heard of James Jean?
No.
He's nuts, dude. Like that guy, and he's not really like street art or anything, but he's more like contemporary, and he's like a real distinct like Oriental style. Like he's getting into museums and stuff, but majority of us are not, and we're considered lowbrow. But like there's this entire other world in the art world that like we cannot even touch, right? Where like multi-millionaires and billionaires like buy like cash out on all these pieces because it's like a tax grift for them. So I want to get onto that.
They're fucking nice, man. That is very cool. It's a very cool concept, and you can tell it's your piece.
I think that's the key for it too. Is like I've developed like a certain style and a certain like language.
The skull.
Yeah.
The skull. Have you found that that's kind of like a trademark of yours now?
It is now, which is weird because other like than that first skull I painted, I'd never painted skulls before.
Really?
Yeah. So that was my first thing, and now everyone's like, "Oh, you're the skull guy," which is weird. But like I think the layered narratives is I've always kind of had that sort of thing, and just the subliminal messaging and stuff like.
Do you have like your color palette you want laid out before you start the piece?
Yeah, what's interesting about this is like I've been really working on my colors. There's no black and there's no white in it.
In this?
Yeah.
No black or white?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of the reasons why it works is because it's working with color temperature. Like you can see.
That's not black?
Nah, that's like dark blue. Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, it's like purple actually. It's like red and blue. And I deliberately like gave myself those restrictions so it like keep it in tight. Like the tighter, it's hard to explain, but internal value, if you have like tighter values, it looks better. And so I've been really working on that. But yeah, the temperature, like the woman in the back is like, her face is deliberately cooler, and the woman in front, her face is really warmer. So that really has a high contrast. So these are sort of things that I've been learning by myself over the years, and like, all right, let's give it a crack. Let's see how it actually works. So yeah.
Well, you nailed it, man. When is the ball rolling?
I don't know. That's my problem. Is like I could never actually find time to do this stuff. I said last year I was like going to do 2 mural jobs, and now we're like 3 or 4 deep and still got more coming. So it's the kind of thing of like doing the murals to pay the bills, but then finding the time. And that's what I do with my money. Is I don't buy flashy cars or anything. I buy time. And so I've got to buy that. I swear it's got to be come June, July. I've got to start cracking more onto these, especially if I want to do the show at the end of the year.
Now that you have like the concept and the direction, because you said this has been like a few years in the making.
Yeah.
Now that you have the concept and the kind of grasp of how to do it, the next ones come pretty naturally.
Yeah, and like the mechanics is just I can pump that out and then just like work on the actual painting.
I imagine the mechanics would have been the biggest head fuck.
Yeah, and it still is. Like that piece is quite heavy.
Yeah, you're a sales, like when you bring it down, your load's pretty fucking heavy.
It's huge. It's probably like 2 by like, so 1.5 by 2 meters.
Really?
Maybe. Yeah, it's huge.
That big?
Yeah. So it's heavy. It's heavy. So like these new ones have been using different materials to get it lighter, and like obviously with the mechanics of it moving itself, it's like a whole different ball game behind the scenes. So yeah, man, I wish I could work on it like 24/7, but I've got other things to do. Got kids, I've got a whole blooming life, and like it's almost like this sort of thing is like at the end of at the end of my time. But like I said, like I'll do big jobs just so I can fund the mortgage and fund the family, and then have a play with this stuff.
Yeah, it's bloody, just so people can see it in a full thing. That's that there. Dude.
It's funny the response, because like it's been hanging up in my house for like over a year.
Really?
And I almost like forgotten about it. And like I wanted to have it in the show, so like I didn't post it because I actually don't post probably 80 to 90% of what I do. But then I was like, who cares? Just release it. And there's also like a bit of hesitancy because I feel like no one's ever done this. I didn't want like copycats to come out and just do the same thing. So I was like a bit insecure about it, but then I was like, fuck it. Who cares? Just release it. Whatever.
Yeah, it's bloody cool, man. You've done well.
Cheers, bud. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. But like I said, it's so hard to get those right heads in front of it.
How many of those kind of pieces do you just have laying around your house that never saw the day of light?
So about 5.
The light of day.
So in this series, I'm working on 5, but previous, I've had entire bodies of work that no one's ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they just stashed somewhere at your house?
Yeah, but that's what I kind of like that. Like, I kind of like... One, it keeps your motivations in check because you're doing it for yourself, but also... like in this art world, in this Insta world, like everyone is just like constantly updating everyone what they're doing at like the second it happens. And like, for me, it's like, I'm kind of anti that. And I'd rather, it's more fun. It's more fun. I don't know what it is, but
also your kids will end up like once you're gone and your kids inherit all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have all of this unreleased work of yours.
That'd be cool. And then they can flog it for millions. That'd be
yeah. They'll fucking flog it straight off.
Well, I ain't got no money, so I can't really.